Hi, I'm Zac Lazarevski. To learn strategies for a successful music career, I interviewed the music producer Tyron Hapi, who has achieved over 1 billion streams as well as gold and platinum certification. I also spoke with the folk music duo called Those Folk, who have achieved a loyal fan following in a difficult niche. I explore how their stories align with the advice of music career experts.
Could you describe your career journey, including what do you think are the most important aspects of your study or training?
It's kind of world we're living in today where there's just so much information online, and when you just play around with stuff by yourself, you can learn that skill set by yourself. And that's kind of what I did. Is I just left school and I kept making really, really bad music until it started to sound better. And it took years.
In the book, Preparing for Success, a practical guide for young musicians, the authors recommend aspiring musicians take responsibility for their learning, follow their passions, and become fluent with music technology. Tyron Hapi did exactly this.
I was uploading to a site called SoundCloud. Eventually it gained traction and interest. My manager messaged me and said, "Hey, this is cool. Would you like to start DJing?" So I signed to their agency at the time. Fast forward a few years, I had some songs do really well. I had a song go platinum in Australia, a song go gold. I was producing for other people, an artist named Masked Wolf. He's a rapper. We made a couple songs. One of them was called Astronaut in the Ocean. And we made it and then we put it out, Spotify, Apple. And it didn't do anything. And then, one day it just had an uptick. And then a year later, it started pulling up. And we realized that it had been being used as a sound on TikTok. And over time, it just kept growing and growing and growing. Celebrities were using it on their Instagram stories. They were using it on the background for their training videos in sports people. Truly, it was going from getting 100 plays a day to 1 million. It just kind of blew up out of nowhere. And
in the book Beyond Talent, Creating a Successful Career in Music, the author emphasizes the importance of networking. Tyron teamed up with his manager and later set him up to collaborate with Masked Wolf.
Could you please kind of discuss how you deal with disappointment?
I work with artists who we have millions of streams together, but they couldn't sell one ticket in Melbourne or anywhere for that matter. There's ups and downs to everything. It just depends on what point of view you kind of want to have on it. For me, currently, success is me just enjoying making music. It doesn't matter if it gets 1 million streams or one stream. If I like that song and I've enjoyed the time making it, then that's time well spent. When you look at Astronaut in the Ocean on Spotify, it's on 1.2 billion streams. I'm not going to go into every studio session being like, oh, I got to top that. Because with that mindset, it's like, well, you can't possibly. There's a good chance that I will never, ever top that. And I have to be okay with that. It's important to have balance. I call success having a good gym session and then getting in a good meal, spending time with family, not numbers on a song. There are people who never ever stop making music. They will just keep going and going and going. And you're just never going to catch those people. And I've had to just say to myself, right, I'm not one of those people. I love making music, but I don't want to be the best producer in the world. I just want to be happy.
It's quite poetic because that is your artist name, right?
yeah. Of course.
In the book, The Musician's Body, a maintenance manual for peak performance, the authors discuss strategies to deal with musical performance anxiety. Tyron also mentioned that he recently struggled with putting unrealistically high expectations on himself, self-criticism, and chronic anxiety. To overcome this, he had to drastically change his mindset, develop a more positive self-talk, and focus on enjoying the process and letting go of the outcome. This aligns with what the authors recommended on page 87 of the book.
How do you currently financially and artistically sustain your career?
You can have the best voice in the world, you can be the most talented, but you might not ever put out a song. And in that case, then it doesn't mean anything. So it's very scary to put yourself out there. And a lot of what I deal with and people deal with is, I don't want to put this out because, or what if my mum doesn't like this, or what if no one likes it? But at the end of the day, you have to remember that just because you don't like it doesn't mean someone else won't. And songs are like little stocks that go into the world and they will make you money over time. I have 12 years of songs that I don't like 90% of them. I don't like Astronaut in the Ocean, but that's put me in an incredible position. If I sat there and went, it's my pride, I don't like it, my situation could be very different. So it's important to just put everything out to finish music and not get too attached to it. Okay, the way I set my week up is I'll make music for half the week that I know that's going to make money. And then the other half of the week is me being experimental and doing things that I want to do and not pleasing my manager or my team. And you might find that the experimental part of the week makes you more money than the other part, which happens all the time. It's like a marriage. It's a 50-50 thing. It's a teamwork thing.
In the book, The Savvy Musician, Building a Career, Earning a Living and Making a Difference, the author writes that the number one most important factor for success in the music industry is outstanding people skills. Tyron is proof of this.
How do you communicate the value of music and musicians to just everyday people who are not musicians?
I have a very talented group of friends who are the most incredible musicians I've ever met. They play gigs every single night in Melbourne. We were having a conversation about what they're getting paid, and it's just not worth what their talents are. When you look at how long it takes to learn an instrument, it's like learning a new language essentially. But again, I think it's something that people don't realize. It's like, well, try having a wedding without music, or try going to a bar without music.
What advice can you give to a current undergraduate musician?
Make sure that you're actually having a good time and having fun, because at the end of the day, that's what it's about. In terms of being successful though, the actual key is consistency. Don't work 12 hours a day and then get no sleep. If you're going to get other producers, it's great to learn a bit of the lingo. If you don't feel like doing it, you could go, well, I'm going to go watch Netflix. That's not consistency, and that's why you're not going to succeed the way you want to. If you push through the bad days and you're like, well, I don't feel like making a song right now, but I'm going to do my best to do it anyway. That's consistency, and that's what's going to get you to where you want to be. And as long as you're sticking to that routine, you're in for a pretty good one. Even for me, the best example is when I got Lessons with You. That was me trying to broaden my skill set. Lessons with You genuinely has helped me in studio sessions with chord progressions. It just speeds up the process. I could have easily been like, I don't want to do piano lessons, I'll get by without it. Well, I probably wouldn't have made half the tracks that I've made this year so far. Definitely consistency is the key to success, I think.
In chapters 2 and 3 of Preparing for Success, authors Hallam and Gaunt discuss the necessity of goal setting, self-motivation, and practice. They tend to agree with Tyron's outstandingly pragmatic advice. Personally, my greatest weakness is motivation. I learned I need to develop a more positive self-concept as a musician, improve my management of intense emotions and impulses, and optimize my environment by eliminating distractions. Also, cultivating consistency in my practice is a key point. Now I interview Lawrence and Claire from folk duo Those Folk.
Could you guys just describe your career journey?
We both have bachelors in music, performance and production.
Creative music technology.
And one of the best things from my degree is just the networking and studio experience. My last major assignment was like making an album and promoting a show, and all the skills I learned through that I've definitely been using.
Getting to cut my teeth playing little gigs around and collaborating with people.
Yeah, we are making a living playing. Most of our income comes from gig and then sometimes royalties. Some of our highlights have been like playing at festivals like the Muster and Caloundra and Woodford's Bush Time, and Brisbane City Hall was probably our biggest gig. So we're starting to establish our following. We don't really fit in the traditional music industry as much, so it's more about finding our niche and celebrating that rather than freaking out about what we're not.
You really have to choose your own adventure.
Creative career expert Dr. Ruth Bridgestock, in her article entitled Making It Creatively, wrote that creatives who are very successful tend to devise strategies to set themselves apart from the status quo. Those folk are very unique in Australia because they have chosen to focus on a very niche genre of Americana Australiana folk. Their career seems to fit best into the entrepreneurial career theory because it is risky, and for many years they have been almost exclusively building their brand as musical duo Those Folk. Could you please kind of discuss how you deal with disappointment?
Even when you get met with rejection, if you have something on the horizon, and as long as it feels like you're always growing, whether you're learning from your mistakes or playing a new venue for the first time, the people who are there seem to really enjoy it. Like all those little steps really just feel like, wow, my career is moving ahead. The end result for us as songwriters, to see that someone's been moved by your music, that's the stuff that keeps you going and helps you forget the negative times.
Lawrence's statements suggest that they are quite resilient in the face of adversity. The excellent New Yorker article, The Secret Formula for Resilience, outlines how resilience can be learned. The key strategies are, firstly, having an internal locus of control, that is, believing you have personal agency and free will. Put another way, believing that you alone are responsible and in control of your actions and circumstances. Secondly, framing rejection or adversity as a challenge, an opportunity to learn and grow. And thirdly, knowing that an occurrence is not traumatic until you perceive it and experience it as traumatic.
How do you guys financially and artistically sustain your career?
Financially, fill the calendar with covers gigs is like what they're called.
There's power in like a good tribute or like a themed show. I think just being like, oh, I play any cover at any pub, that's all right, but it's actually a bit more powerful to have a niche, something I can really sell as an experience.
Whereas when we're doing the town hall shows, it's really a lot more like putting on a proper concert where there needs to be a poster, you set up a ticket link and, actually selling tickets. That felt really scary at first as far as like income. To sustain ourselves artistically, that's when you need those real original music showcases and releasing music, the songwriting.
What advice would you give to an undergraduate musician?
Really, social media is important. Having a vision for yourself as an artist. Reels are really big as well, especially doing covers of songs you like, just well-recorded vertical videos that will actually just put it in front of random people.
Have you got your compositions registered with APRA? And
yeah.
If you play gigs, you get paid to play your own songs. Collaborating is really good, especially even if you release songs with other artists you get to cross promote.
But yeah, you asked about like getting started as a songwriter, like team up with like 2 other people, co-motivate each other.
You also might be able to get work on like cruise ships. I think the biggest lucrative income source is having a good publisher and getting music on film and TV. We knew a guy in California who bought a house because he had a song in a Christmas movie, and he bought a house with cash.
And it can be quite passive income.
For more career suggestions, check out Chapter 9 of Preparing for Success. Authors Hallam and Gaunt outline various music career options. Thank you very much to Tyron, Hapi, and Lawrence and Claire for sharing their valuable time and their enlightening stories. I learned a lot, and I really appreciate it. I'm Zac Lazarevski. Thank you for listening.